All right. Howdy, folks, and welcome to our final TMN Tuesday for the 2024 calendar year. Welcome to the final month. The weather here in Texas sure dipped today to greet us into the winter time, although it'll be in the 70s later this week, at least here in Central Texas. You never know. That is a true Texasism for winter is you never know what you're going to have to wear that day. But we're excited for our TMN Tuesday presentation today. We've got a lot of wonderful speakers that are going to present along, and I'll have Hannah introduce them here in just a little bit. But if you are new to our TMN Tuesday, on the screen you see our virtual meeting room etiquette, which we share every month. If you're new to WebEx and this is your first time, welcome. If you're having issues, please check out our WebEx help guide on our website. We also have recordings of previous webinars on that website as well. For today's discussion, we're going to use our chat function to ask questions to our speakers and our variety of different panelists that are joining us today. To help Michelle, Hannah, and myself as moderators of the chat room, please keep all chat comments and questions professional, respectful, with the best spelling and grammar that you can possibly muster, so that we can ask those questions as you intend them to be asked. Our session today will run for 1 hour and can count for advanced training. I have a slide here in just a little bit that can help you to record your advanced training correctly, and we'll show that here in just a second. And then, as always, the recording of today's meeting will be posted on our website, if not by this afternoon, first thing tomorrow morning, for those that need to watch it as a recording. And here we go.
Okay, so as we get started, if you're able to take this little survey, it's completely optional. Scan the little QR code, or we will drop the link in the chat. If you could help us remain eligible for the funding that provides these webinars and the Master Naturalist program, makes it available. Your responses to this survey can help continue that. So completely optional, and we'd be grateful for you taking the survey. Couple of program updates this afternoon that we have for you and for the end of the year in December. Just some reminders. Report your end of year hours as soon as possible. So any hours that you complete between now and the end of the year, help us get our reports and program reports and your chapter reports done as soon as you can. And if you could report those service time and advanced training time as close to the end of the year as possible, or as close as to the date that you complete those actions in VMS. All reporting for the 2024, actually for everything from the end of December. At the end of December, all reporting, that 45-day cutoff period is February 14th. So anything from December 31st, you would need to have reported by that time. It's also a good time at the end of the year and for the new year to just make sure, check your VMS profile and update that with any current contacts that need to be updated. If you've moved and your mailing address needs to be updated, that's also a good time of year to get that information updated as well. And then many of our chapters are having officer changeovers and new administrations and new boards coming into office at the beginning of the new year. So a reminder to our VMS administrators at the local chapter level, your chapter would need your help in keeping the chapter officers, committee chairs, and things like that updated for the new year in the VMS. And then one of the things we started doing is giving you some information on how to report your hours for your attendance today. So our viewers today, either watching live today, or if you watch the recording of this between now and the end of the year, here's how you would report your hours for today. General members, you report your service for today as advanced training. And in the description of your logbook entry, include the December 2024 TMN Tuesday, which is our mentor programs showcase.
So y'all may have noticed we've been doing our season of thanks once again. Thank you to everyone who submitted their stories in that survey. The survey is now closed, but we are still posting some of those stories on our socials and adding them to our website. If you'd like to see all the ones that have been posted so far, you can use that QR code, which for some reason is blocking the link. It wasn't when I made it, but you can use that QR code and scan it to get to that web page, or just scroll on our socials and see those. But thank you once again for submitting those stories. They've been really fun to read. Also, as we are coming into the new year, keep in mind that we are having a web page where we are collecting all of the 2025 training class information. So this is more for those chapter leaders. If you have not filled out the form on that page to have your training classes added, please do so. We have 15 chapters who have filled out the form so far. You can see the stars of where they are. And if you, again, want a quick way to access that form, you can use that QR code right there on that page. But this is just a catch-all for someone who might be looking to join the Master Naturalist program and comes to the state website first. Helps them find when the training information for their chapter would be quickly. So it's not a requirement to do, but it is recommended because it is that one-stop shop for people. Also, you might be wondering, well, when are our TMN Tuesdays for 2025? They are coming. Dates will be announced soon, so just keep an eye out on socials and on the email listserv. If you're not signed up for the email listserv, do that. And they will be announced in the coming month, so keep an eye out on all those platforms. And I didn't see Mitch join, so we might come back to him later. Do we know if he's in? Oh, Michelle, you're muted.
He's still getting on. He said the internet at his office has decided to be horrendously slow. So he's looking at a spinning log on right now.
So we'll go ahead and jump into the program and then get back to Mitch, but just know there's a new
let me
citizen science
introduce just the topic real quick. So one of the things that we'll hope we can get presented today, this potential project just was just shared with our program. Local fisheries biologists they're stocking rainbow trout across the state in different areas. And Mitch came to us with the potential of with a question of how Master Naturalists might be able to help. So in case Mitch isn't able to present today, just know that there will be some more information coming to your chapter and your chapter leadership to review and potentially approve this as a project that our Master Naturalists can assist with at your local chapter level. Again, the project is rainbow trout in specific areas, so it's not going to be applicable to all of our chapters in every area. But there are a lot of stockings taking place in many areas of the state that chapters could help with. So if we are not able to get Mitch to talk a little bit about it today, we'll be sending more information.
Hopefully, if he does get on, we'll just interrupt the schedule that we have here and squeeze him in between some of our presenters. But now that we've hit that 12:10 mark, we're going to go ahead and get started on our presentations. As you saw on socials and online, this is discussing mentor programs that chapters use for their new member training classes and ways that they try to keep those new trainees involved and engaged in the program. So we have 3 unique mentorship programs from 3 different chapters, and we're going to start with Danny from the Capital Area chapter and hear from him first.
Hello, can you hear me? Awesome. Okay, let me share my screen. All right, can you see my screen?
Perfect.
Great. All right. Hello, naturalists. My name is Danny Martin, and I've been an enthusiastic member of the Capital Area Chapter since my initial training with the class of 2022. I am not a mentorship coordinator, but I have been a mentee and a mentor through multiple iterations of the program. So I'm hoping to, one, share my experience as a mentee, two, give some pros and cons for each mentoring structure that I've been a part of, and three, give some details on where we've landed currently in our thinking of the role of a mentor. Also, I think the initial training is just a completely magical experience. All of the wonder and energy it can generate. So I'm a big fan of mentorship as a way to make sure that the training is as accessible and engaging as possible to everyone, as well as a way to facilitate the transition from training into dedicated volunteering. So I'm really excited to talk to you all about it. So my first experience with the mentorship program was as a trainee in 2022. This was a COVID quarantine period, so the first half of our training classes were virtual. And I could tell that our chapter was really experimenting with ways to keep trainees engaged while in a virtual environment. And I really appreciated that. My mentor had one other mentee, and the three of us met up for coffee with our masks on before the initial training began. We talked about why we joined, what we should expect, local naturalist topics and organizations, and different ways that they were actively involved in volunteering. This was my first time talking to people with the same deep fascination and curiosity for nature that I had. So it really helped me feel like I was in the right place. And then when I got to initial training, I already knew one of my classmates. This meeting was actually the only formal interaction I had with my mentor. I was just super motivated and ready to go from there. But I really valued it, and it was really nice to know that someone was there for some extra guidance if I needed it. And then every time I saw them speak or out volunteering in the future, it was a nice boost to think like, hey, there's my mentor. Um, and for some trainees, this initial interaction might be all they need. So moving on now, we'll look at the way that these mentorship programs were actually structured over the years. And I'm a very visual person, so I made a graphic to help illustrate these systems. And I want to start by saying that I'm super thankful to the mentorship coordinators that facilitated these over the years. Wrangling so many busy adults is not easy, and every effort was really vital to give us something to build on. So starting on the left is the system we used in 2022, and I'm going to refer to it as interest-based. In this version, trainees opted into having a mentor through email and listed their interests like botany, urban ecology, etc., in an effort to match with a mentor with related experience. So one mentor might have 4 mentees, and another might have 2 or even 1, depending on who chose which interests. And then there's a handful at the bottom that didn't opt into having a mentor. In the middle is the system we used in 2023 and in some years previous, and I'm calling it one-on-one because we tried to match every trainee who opted in with their own mentor. And then on the right is the approach we started using in spring 2024 and currently using for our first ever fall hybrid class, and I'll call it universal. In this approach, 4 to 5 mentors are available and dedicated to the whole class, as well as each mentor keeping in touch with 6 to 7 mentees more consistently. And in this system, we also decided to have at least one mentor at each field session. So hopefully these diagrams make sense. It kind of felt like I was drawing up plans to storm a castle or something. But this is kind of how I see them in my head. And it shows about how many mentors you would need for 30 trainees and the way that those trainees would connect to a mentor. So to give more detail on each, the key strength of the interest-based is the potential for a mentor with relevant experience. In practice, this is a pretty tricky system to implement because one, so many of us have a hard time narrowing down our interests. We might be in the program to broaden our interests. And two, expecting emails back from each mentee and mentor to collect this information and organizing it into mentor groups is a pretty tall order. But if you have a dedicated mentorship coordinator, it's definitely possible. Another challenge is with all the new stuff thrown at you at the start of training, the opt-in period was missed by some trainees. So they got partway through the classes and then realized that some of their classmates had mentors and they were really bummed that they missed out. And this general idea of complexity is something to consider with each approach. Each extra input needed from a trainee will affect the total involvement. And ultimately, you want mentorship to enrich and facilitate the training without asking for too much additional back and forth. So looking at the one-on-one method, the key strength here is the potential to have the most focused attention from a mentor. And this can be a really engaging approach for mentees with the main challenge of the number of mentors needed. So I remember this system took multiple requests for mentor volunteers to get the amount that we needed for class. Also with this, sometimes the engagement level is mismatched. So there would be a mentor that was really willing and ready to help, matched with a trainee that didn't really engage. And then there was mentees that really wanted that interaction, but the mentor got too busy or fell off with communication. And this is actually one of the main things we tried to address with the universal system. So the key strength of the universal system being that it's easy to implement. We did it without a mentorship coordinator, and that each trainee has multiple mentors available to them, so they're always covered. It was also easier to meet and get to know your mentors because they came to the field sessions, something you can't really do with the other methods because of the large number of mentors. The trade-off here is that each trainee might get a little less direct attention from a mentor, but if you're hearing that trainees aren't getting reached with the other methods, this might be something to try. This system is going really well so far. And of course, from here, we're going to continue to collect feedback and tweak to make sure that the mentor process is working for everyone. But I wanted to show the variety of these structures because different things might work for different chapters. So next, I wanted to give some thoughts on what it means to be a mentor. In a lot of ways, mentors are the face of the current Master Naturalist community to the training class. Since trainees mostly hear from full-time experts in class, it's helpful to have an example of what involvement as a certified Master Naturalist can look like. I also gathered a list from some previous mentors of specific things you can try as a mentor. So I'll go through those real quick. So one is share volunteer opportunities that relate to the current class topic and your experience with them. Two, connect budding interests of trainees to needs within the chapter or the broader community. So if someone is really outgoing and likes to talk, maybe recommend the Education and Outreach Committee. Three, help trainees find volunteer opportunities close to their location, availability, and accessibility. In addition, I would ask where they're volunteering and offer to volunteer with them. Or lots of times, I'll just let my mentees know where I'm volunteering Because if you're just starting out, it could help to go somewhere with a friendly face. So, and seeing a mentor at volunteer events is just my favorite thing. Number 4, provide tips and tricks for scheduling and tracking volunteer service. This comes more naturally to some people. I definitely rely on some hacks to keep me on track, which I readily share if someone is having a tough time. So 5, help facilitate class activities. This is important if you're going to be at field sessions. You don't want to be a distraction. So really be focused on the flow of the class and be open to being an extra pair of hands when needed. 6, take photos of the class for documentation. I love doing this because it lets the class coordinators and the trainees focus on class, and you can have a bit more flexibility to step back and capture the experience. Number 7, provide extra one-on-one encouragement and warmth. Ideally, you want to just be a good listener and good at asking questions that let them express themselves, especially when it comes to their interest in nature. This training can be a big undertaking, so being another way to make it a positive experience is great. And 8, just a reminder, we don't have all the answers. A mentor is not about knowing the most about nature or the most about Texas Master Naturalists. It's about being familiar enough with the program to be helpful, and it's about being excited for them and encouraging them to make it to the end. On that note, I think it's important to define success with a mentorship program. It's not necessarily to hound trainees or making them feel super pressured to get every hour in. I think success is when every trainee feels supported and encouraged and doesn't get lost in the shuffle. If they connect with another master naturalist who is fulfilled with the work and they see the value in it, they're going to want to finish and continue to be involved. So to close out, I just want to say it's truly an honor to be a mentor. I really cherish getting to see the individual spark of each trainee, and especially hearing how they plan to use that knowledge and motivation in the future. So I would highly recommend trying it out for your chapter and see where it goes. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. We saw a lot of love in the chat for your graphics that you have in your presentation. So definitely
Thank
kudos
you.
to that. I think we have time to answer one quick question. And the one that I see is, and this might be a question for the training coordinator rather than you, but just let us know if that's the case. But what were the results from each approach, and did anyone practice produce more people who certified?
So I don't have the actual data on like how many actually certified throughout each experience. Um, I just have more general like one-on-one word of mouth feedback um, from some of the initial approaches. Since there was no presence in the field session, lots of times um, it was hard to see the results of that. Whereas when you actually go to the field sessions and um, are involved in the one-on-one talking during that, you can kind of get a sense for what everyone is doing.
All right. Thank you so much for that presentation. I've seen a lot of, again, love the graphics, great presentations in the chat, so don't forget to go look at those. While we have him on, Mitch, if you would like to go ahead and present, I'll make you presenter about the new citizen science opportunity. And then we'll continue on with our regular schedule. Mitch, I have you as presenter, and you should see the share button now.
I did say he was having trouble with audio and video. He was trying to sleuth out.
Wait a little longer.
Yeah, let me message him really quick.
All right, then we will continue on. And next on our list is the Alamo Area chapter. So Karen, I've gone ahead and given you presenter abilities.
Hi, I'm Cheryl with the Alamo Area chapter, and the mentor program has definitely been one of our best practices. Like Danny mentioned, we've also gone through a few different tweaks in our program. We started out with just using training team members to be the mentors for the new trainees, and we had a ratio of about 1 mentor to 8 or 10 new trainees. And between our volunteer duties and the training team duties, that was just a lot to handle. When we cut it back to about 1 mentor with 3 trainees, we found more personal contact and opportunities for relationship building. Of course, this meant we needed more mentors, and it was a great way to get more chapter members involved. So it turned out to be a great force multiplier for the training team. And it's also a network multiplier for our new volunteers. We found, it seems pretty obvious match interests with interest, right? But for example, everybody in my chapter knows that I love water. So we actually don't want to pair up trainees who say they love water because they're going to find me eventually. But in the meantime, why don't we start out by pairing me up with people who have other passions, and maybe my water passion will rub off on them, and maybe their passions will get me into new activities. The key really was matching mentor availability. We had an explosion of younger volunteers in the last few years. And of course, most of them work some regular Monday through Friday work hours. So we don't want to pair somebody up who only has weekends or evening availability with someone who's always, in the demo garden Wednesdays at 8 a.m. Just doesn't quite work as well. So that was definitely one of the lessons we learned. And also very important to have knowledgeable mentors. They don't necessarily have to know everything about nature, but they need to know about our program. They need to know the minimum requirements for initial certification. They need to be aware of our chapter activities and our partners and who the liaisons are so they can have warm handoffs. If their mentees express interest in other areas, they can help get their new trainees to those places. Important to have knowledgeable mentors, but also important to have continuing support for mentors. We definitely start the season with a meeting with mentors to set general expectations, and they'll have a better understanding of their role. We also give the mentors reminders of the program minimum requirements. This is great so that the training director doesn't have to answer 75 emails asking, how many volunteer hours do I need to certify? Those basic questions can be answered by the mentor. We also found it's a good practice to have someone giving the mentors reminders throughout the training season about contact points, good openings. If we've got a class break, send out a reminder to email saying, hey, this is a great time for you to invite your new trainees to come to the field and volunteer with you. And by giving that personal invitation to join in volunteerships, it really helps transition into dedicated volunteerism and not, in the receive mode and trainee mode. So basically, this has just been a great experience for both mentees and mentors who dive into it. Great relationships and friendships last after the training period. But if for any reason, maybe two folks didn't quite click, and there's extra support needed after the training period ends. We have had great success with the certification coaching program, and Karen's going to talk to you about that next.
All right, great. I can see some questions coming in about this already. Thank you, Cheryl. It's been wonderful working with Cheryl. I've learned a lot about mentors and the whole chapter. She was one of my mentors, by the way. So shortly after getting involved with the organization, getting involved with training, we decided that there was discovered there was a gap in the mentor process that happened often after the trainees were finished with the classes. So we set up a small team of people to be certification coaches. So basically this team's responsibility is after initial training is complete, they offer to assist and support the trainees to complete the certification. And we're trying really hard to focus in on that, required certification date and create that motivation to get those hours, the 40+8 done in time. We put this in place largely because we were just noticing that about a third of our trainees weren't certifying. They definitely went through all the training. They may be even volunteering. We don't know, but they aren't certified and they aren't recording their hours, and they may not keep their membership in the chapter active. So this was another way to follow on with the mentoring concept and then just help people, like Cheryl and Danny both said, make more connections to the chapter. So we've done this only for a year, so we have a few findings I'd like to share with you, but a few of the things that were kind of surprising to me, frankly. But what were the barriers to certification? And the number one thing that kept coming up was people were just too embarrassed to ask for help once the class was over. So we've worked really hard to establish a culture where that is just not normal, right? You're always asking for help, and you're always having people that you can reach out to. We also found that we were really lacking in weekend and what we call self-scheduling volunteer opportunities, really making our members much more aware of things that once they get trained, they can go and find opportunities that they want to do and do on their own schedule. Because as Cheryl said, we're getting more and more people that are working or have families and small children, and they want to be able to volunteer with their kids or with their families or in some area like that. The third most common, and these are kind of in order of how often they occurred, life happened. We definitely had people where, again, part of the too embarrassed to ask for help was, I got really sick. My parents passed away. I had a baby and I wasn't planning it. Just things like that happen. So we always want to go back and reach out to people, especially when life is happening all around us, and see how we can help them finish the program. I was very surprised that the least common barrier mentioned was VMS. I had thought this would be one of the largest barriers, but honestly, it really wasn't. We do have a few people who are still challenged in this area and have lost many hours because they didn't record them within the 45-day window. Otherwise, they would have certified. But we just step right in and say, that's a requirement, get in there, and we're going to help you finish up. The other little gotcha we ran into is that people were no longer in VMS because they didn't renew their membership, and we hadn't connected those dots for them, that in order to record your hours, you've actually got to be a member and pay your dues. So those are some of the most common things that we ran into. So some of you may be interested in how we did it. This is a little bit about what we did. We just put together a very small team. It's just 3 people, kind of an extension of that mentor concept, having a passion for supporting the trainees. We developed a little charter and an approach. We really wanted to set the tone that this was a no judgment zone because we ran into so many people who were embarrassed. So we created a very reusable set of outreach emails. That way we're all kind of speaking with the same friendly tone of voice. And we put together one list, one document of all weekend and weeknight and self-scheduling volunteer opportunities. These were kind of hidden for a lot of our new trainees. A lot of our regulars knew all about these, and especially our VMS approvers and our membership director knew all about these. So we could get a list of that together really quick and share it with people and post it on for our trainees. Recently, we also put a very strong focus on our calendar. We always tell people to go to our calendar to find volunteer opportunities. But what we were noticing is that the weekend and weeknight opportunities just weren't getting the same attention and they weren't ending up on our calendar. They were on all our partners' calendars, but our trainees and a lot of our members didn't really know that they could go directly to those partner organizations. They really depend on the calendar. So we've got a little team of probably 20 people now really focused on that. We call them liaisons to each of our partner organizations. Last couple things here is we did go ahead and reach out to our prior 3 classes. We wanted to see if we could help coach people who, like I said, had a life event or something pop up in the last year that just kept them from being able to finish. And in the process, we've certified 18 people, which is great. And then we're probably in the process of coaching another 20. Whether they finish or not is really up to them. The coaches don't own that, the trainee does. But what we also got agreement from our membership director and VMS approvers is that we are able to offer an extension to that certification date. And we try and put some guardrails around this. First of all, they have to ask for it. We don't just put it out there to everybody because that would delay a lot of certifications. But we also try and make sure they've demonstrated to us that they actually have a plan for the areas they want to volunteer in, or some calendar dates, or maybe I can't volunteer in the summer, but I've got 4 months after that I'm going to finish. So we're just looking for some indication that they have a plan. And that's worked out very, very well, and that's helped these 18 people get in. Lastly, I'll just put these 2 testimonials up here. You know, our master naturalists can speak for themselves, but these are just 2 very different people who ended up getting their certification with the help of a coach. And I thought this might be helpful to you to see in their own words what that meant to them. And that's all I have.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We saw a lot of love for the reusable email templates idea, and a lot of other chapters also saying that they're getting that boom of younger audiences as well. Mary Pearl, did you see any questions?
No, but
chat?
yes, there are a lot of questions in the chat, and Karen, that might be an opportunity for y'all to answer some of those very directed and pointed questions, as it seems to be an interesting point of discussion for kind of how these things all work in tandem with each other.
Will do. I will stop sharing and I'll go look at those questions in the chat, and Cheryl will too. I'm sure we'll see what we can do.
Perfect. Sounds great. Thank you so much. And now we're on to our final chapter presentation, the Lost Pines chapter. Nancy, I've gone ahead and given you presenter capabilities. It's loading, should be there now. So go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
Okay. All righty.
Looks good.
Here we go.
There's this first slide.
Okay. So, hi, I'm Nancy Ravensburg. I'm the current president of the Lost Pines chapter. I was in the 2016 training class. I've been membership director, training director, and now I'm wrapping up my 3rd year and final year as president. I want to share with you how we run our mentor program. So let's start with the purpose. The goal of the mentor program is to support new trainees as they complete class, volunteer, and advanced training requirements. We want to help ensure certification and a smooth integration of the trainees into the Texas Master Naturalist program. So this comes from the CMOP, and it is how we patterned our mentor program. Our timing and procedures are particular to our chapter, and we know the value of a strong mentor program. There's a higher completion rate, and certification rate among trainees when the mentors are involved. They need to be well informed, and they provide continued support and guidance to their mentee. Training class directors and mentors, mentor coordinators. So each fall, our training class directors solicit members to participate on the training class committee. Committee members take on different jobs. One of the job duties is to serve as mentor coordinator. For recruitment, all training committee members are involved in the mentor recruitment. When a member considers becoming a mentor, we stress the importance of being committed and actively involved with their mentee. Not all members make good mentors. Matching. To match mentors to trainees, we use the completed trainee application and a volunteer interest survey from both the trainee and the mentors. Matching is based on similar interests, geographic location sometimes, and the degree of anticipated need. Some members in training need more one-on-one interaction. So this is a very compressed view of our volunteer interest survey. The person completing it expresses their interest and then how much experience they have with that. The survey includes opportunities offered to chapter volunteers. It also asks about interest and experience in education, administrative, and leadership tasks. We use this survey to pair mentors with mentees and to find volunteers for specific jobs. Our member coordinator is our mentor herder. They're responsible for all aspects of the mentor-mentee experience. And these are some of their responsibilities. Mentor responsibilities. There appears to be a lot of responsibilities for mentors here. However, that tasks are fairly self-evident. Mentors support mentees in whatever their needs are to become certified. We also have a mentor handbook. Each year we evaluate and update the mentor handbook as needed. Mentors need to be knowledgeable about different facets of the chapter to help guide their mentee. The mentor handbook contains important information from both the state office and VMS and our own chapter. We created this document in response to questions from mentors. This table clarifies the confusion of the many varieties of opportunities that a mentor will participate in. We made this in combination with or in collaboration with Dale Healing and Cheryl Foster from the VMS team. All right, this is a photo of us assembling the training and mentor handbooks. So it's an assembly style operation. We compile the mentor handbooks and the training class handbooks in about 30 minutes. And once the handbooks are completed, we begin our mentor information session, which usually takes about an hour. All right, this is a sample agenda from years past of what we talk about at the information meeting for mentors. There's a Q&A session. There are questions and answers within the handbook. And we go over attendance and mileage record keeping. And then we share ideas, and people, suggest what worked for them last year, if they had a mentee, if they had a good mentee, and what didn't. And then we offer some final encouragement. So wrapping it up, our mentor program includes the training for the mentor training includes an agenda, leading the orientation meeting, going through the mentor handbook, and answering questions. We remind mentors to have fun. Remember to smile, be positive and upbeat. And mentors are such an important part of our training program, and we couldn't pull off the training classes without them. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Nancy, I love that your final bullet is that everybody should be having fun doing this. That
Yeah.
part of the success of a mentor program and any iteration of it is that folks are enjoying themselves and are engaging with each other.
Right.
Saw a few comments in the chat asking for a copy of your mentor manual that you mentioned and also of your interests form that you used. I think that was like the third slide. So we definitely saw some interest in that. Mary Pearl, did you see any questions? It's a very busy chat today, so it's hard to keep track.
No, I think it's great. And I think there's a lot of resources. So some of the questions are about slide sharing and resource sharing. There's some opportunity for us to put some of this on our TMN Tuesday page as resources for this presentation today. But then also some more collaborative work that Hannah will be focusing on as we go into 2025 of pulling some of these types of resources together for our new training class directors as she engages that audience more in the next couple months next year.
Yes, and for those who did ask, we will be sharing all of our presenters' slides on our TMN Tuesday page. I dropped that link earlier in the chat. I'll drop it again a little bit later. But our website, TMN Tuesday, and you will find the recording in sometime this week, as well as everyone's slides on that page. And then on that note, Mitch, how is your connection? You're muted if you're trying to talk to us.
So as we're waiting for Mitch Nisbet to find his unmute button and be able to share a little bit about this new citizen science project that he's working on with Fisheries Department, Fisheries Division. Some of the questions in chat I think are applicable statewide, Hannah, and there might be some resources that we can pull out of the chat box. Some of the questions and answers that I think would make a great follow-up resource for this presentation as well. Hey, Mitch, we can hear you. Can you say hi? I can hear your typing. I can't hear your voice.
Can you hear us?
Shucks, y'all, I really want to share the information that he's got. Mitch, can we try it one more time? Can you hear us at all?
I see a presentation.
All right, hopefully you guys can hear me all right. I've had a ton of technical difficulties on my end. I cannot hear anyone throughout this entire thing, so I'm trying my best to make this work. But yeah, I want to thank everyone for letting me speak here today. So Texas Parks and Wildlife is doing rainbow trout stockings across all of Texas. We're doing a statewide evaluation as well this year to try to get an idea of what kind of effort and use we're getting. So we're hoping that you all are willing to help out with some of that evaluation. So currently we're going to be stocking about 343,000 rainbow trout across small ponds, impoundments, and rivers in Texas. For our anglers, they're allowed to harvest any size rainbow trout they catch, They can keep 5 per day, except for a special provision on the Guadalupe River. And then anyone that's 17 years of age or younger does not need a fishing license. Slides are not advancing. Okay, I'll see what I can do.
If you can hear me at all, just make sure that you're sharing the screen and not the application.
All right, is that showing better? Hopefully. Not working any better. Okay.
We're communicating with Mitch by chat, y'all. So thank you for your patience here.
Nothing's flipping through. Do I need to wait for it to that work? Okay.
That works.
All right.
That
If I
works.
flip now, you can see stuff. All right. Thank you. This is crazy. Okay. So yeah. So how our evaluations are going to work is we have an 18-day period where we're stocking fish and evaluating them. So the first few days, our biologists are going to be out there conducting angler interviews. And then there's going to be 5 days that are set aside for angler counts. And that's where we were hoping you all could help out with. So we've got 15 districts across the state. And if you reach out to your local biologist, they'll be able to let you know where these stockings are occurring, what days they need help on. There's 3 periods during the day. So there's like a morning period, a midday, and an afternoon period. From 8 to 11 is the morning, 11 to 2 is the midday, 2 to 5 is the afternoon period. You're not required to stay for the whole time. All we're asking is someone to stop by those water bodies, count how many anglers are there, how many kids are fishing. We're trying to get some idea of predation by cormorants and pelicans. It's not like an absolutely necessary component, but if you can ID those birds and let us know how many you see out there, that would be huge. Hopefully we can set up a phone call with your local biologist if you're interested in helping out with this. They can kind of walk you through our survey sheet. This is what the survey sheet looks like. It's not too complicated. It's just filling in a few numbers and circling a few boxes. This is a map of all of our different districts. So there's either 14 or 15 of them across the state, broken up by counties. It's got the name of each district and all of the contact information I can provide too if you need help with it. If you have trouble contacting any biologist, feel free to reach out to me. If you can just let me know what county you're in, I can get you to the biologist you're going to be working with. I mean, we stock about, I think it's like 150 lakes all across the state. So chances are there's something close to you. If that's something you guys would be interested in, either reach out to me or your local biologist. I'm sure they'd be happy to walk you through what we're looking for. And I really apologize I can't hear any of y'all. If you guys have any questions for me, put it in the chat. I'll stick around for a little bit, or feel free to send me an email.
That sounds great. And so Mitch can't hear me say this, but thank you, Mitch. We added him in last minute here to be able to share this project, as we just got an email about this. For all of our Master Naturalist attending, we will be sharing this. Mitch will be sending us his presentation as well as his request specifically, so we can email that out to all chapter presidents as well. All right. As we get close to the end of the hour, we want to say thank you to all of our presenters and our panelists. Thank you to Mitch for presenting on his project and all of the shared resources and interest on mentor programs or certification coaches. I love the different terminology that comes out when we talk about ways that we can help to engage Master Naturalists in their career or in their lifetime as a Master Naturalist. Hannah, do you have any final kind of thoughts and resources that you've put together thinking through some of this stuff?
Not at this time. Again, the presentations are going to be on the TMN Tuesday website page. I'll add that link to the chat one more time since, again, very busy chat today, which is awesome. And then, yeah, if you want to contact any presenters, they are more than welcome to drop their emails in the chat. They are not required to, though, so that's just up to them. But thank you to all of our presenters for doing this. I love getting to see the early stages of the presentations as we were going through the tech checks, and I think this was a perfect way to round out the 2024 TMN Tuesdays.
Absolutely. All right. Thank y'all, everyone. We'll get the recording posted to the website this afternoon, if not first thing tomorrow, and get Mitch's information and all of the resources gathered today shared as mentioned previously. All right. Thank you, guys.